going on, Jerome? It's a beautiful Thursday. Birds are chirping and stuff, and it's time for another Vikings news dump. So, of course, we're like a week late on the whole Luka trade, but it just got us thinking. So, first off, like Luka is a legitimate superstar, right? And all the rumors and conjectures coming out of Dallas, conditioning, blah blah blah, ownership. I mean, it's weird. It's weird because he is a tentpole foundational franchise player, and you generally don't see those guys getting moved unless it's for a lot. And Anthony Davis, who just got hurt in like first 2 seconds, it's not a lot, right? And got me thinking, who on the Vikings is untouchable? Like untradeable, not going to move him, not going to do it. But obviously, everyone has their price. But just in terms of like realistic expectations in terms of trade return, like who's not getting dealt, right? So I only came up with two, and then two that were maybes. So I think right now it's Jefferson and J.J. McCarthy. Like I understand J.J. McCarthy has never played a down of football, but you're banking your future on J.J. McCarthy, highest drafted quarterback in team history, and he is Kevin O'Connell. He is Kwesi's guy, and I think that it's a little bit of BS season right now with all the Darnold talk, all the whatever talk, but I do think that it's JJ's turn in 2025, and I think that he is going to show. I think his floor is Brock Purdy. I really do. I think that the ceiling can be unlimited, and I think that he's got the talent. I think he's got the right mindset. I think he's going to have the weapons and coaches around him. I think that mentally, I mean, there's no better mentality that you want for your quarterback. So I think J.J. McCarthy's untouchable. Absent a team coming in offering like 5 first-round picks, probably not. And like we said before, J.J. McCarthy would be the number 1 overall pick in this class. Easily quarterback 1 by far, and you got to treat him that way. So if you're in a normal draft, like if you're not getting 3 first-rounders and change for the number 1 pick, like you're not moving J.J. McCarthy for that. And then you got Justin Jefferson, right? So the best wide receiver in the game, sign him to that fresh contract. And by the way, after Jamar Chase gets paid and a couple other receivers get paid, all of a sudden that deal is going to look like a steal. It is. And Jefferson, leadership-wise, mentality-wise, box office-wise, like he is really important because think about it just from the economic standpoint too. Because Jefferson is so effervescent, he's so charismatic, he's on a bunch of commercials, and he does have legitimate beyond football appeal, right? Because kids want to be him. He's recognizable. He's flashy. He backs it up and all that stuff. And that does have value, right? In terms of selling tickets, selling jerseys, and having Jefferson on promotional materials for the team, like name, image, likeness, all that stuff. Like it matters, right? So I don't think that ownership would ever trade him. I just really don't. It's not like he's just an inert, nameless, faceless, but really good receiver. Like he is box office. Like he is a legitimate superstar. And also, why would you move him? Nah. 2 maybes. So I understand that Darrisaw's hurt. I understand that there's concern about health, but there's a reason why he got that contract as the highest paid left tackle in the game, because he truly is a difference maker. And it's kind of amazing the Vikings went on that 9-game winning streak without him in the second half of the season. Cam Robinson filling in, fighting the good fight, but Darrisaw is a game changer. He's a game wrecker. He is as adept as a crushing run blocker as he is an adept pass blocker. He is right now, if he stays healthy, he will be a top 5 left tackle in this game, and probably not even 5. So I think that that's exceedingly rare. I think that him not even scratching the surface of his prime yet. So I think that you would not move him for any realistic type of deal. And they got Jonathan Grenard. So got some flack the other day, talk about no. So someone asked, what would you get if you traded Jonathan Grenard? And I said, not enough, basically, right? I would not trade Jonathan Grenard because not only does he rack up sacks and pressures, it's when he does it. In clutch time, if he's exhausted, if he's thrown up on the sideline, he will get it. He will get buckets. And that's something that I love about Jonathan Grenard. And I think that, back-to-back 12 sack seasons, had 12 and a half his final season in Houston, heading into year 6 of his NFL career. I think that he is just ascending and getting higher and higher. Starting Pro Bowler this year with fellow free agent edge rusher Andrew Van Ginkel. But yeah, I think the sky is certainly the limit there with Jonathan Grenard, only 27 years young, THICC, thick of his prime coming on up. So I think those two would be maybe. But I don't know if a team offered like the legit Brian Burns package of 2 firsts and change that stupidly the Panthers didn't take when it was offered. Maybe that's why they're in the maybe category. 2 untouchables, Jefferson and JJ McCarthy. Then, speaking of which, so Maurice Jones-Drew put out his top NFL running backs 2024 rank from 1 to 74. Right, Cam Akers, I believe, checked in at 43, so you're good to go. But Aaron Jones ended up top 10. So career high for rushing yards, 1138. And even at advanced age, he turned 30 in December last year. And still got some love, man. Jones posted career high marks and carries and rush yards in his first season with the Vikings. He was a dual threat playmaker out of the backfield who looks spry at age 30. Fresh off his 4th 1,000-yard rushing campaign, he enters free agency this offseason, but proved he has plenty left in the tank to offer a running back needy team. I would like him back, not at $7 million. If like the Broncos or some other team want to come out and offer him $7 million, go ahead. But I think that the running back market, as much as it was bullish last year with Saquon, Josh Jacobs, and Derrick Henry getting paid, I think that it could greatly recede this year. Aaron Jones is probably the top free agent running back, but factoring in age, Also, Najee Harris is out there too. But with the running back class coming in, which is so deep and also high quality, I just don't see huge money being splashed around, especially for guys like Najee Harris, right? But Jones, want him back. Sounds like he wants to be back. I think that he got along great in this locker room, great with Kevin O'Connell. I think that he does still have something left in the tank, but if he's back, he shouldn't be getting the same number of touches that he got last year. You need to dial back his work. Pair him up with Cam Akers, hopefully who is back in free agency as well. Plus, add a couple of running backs in the draft and go from there. Speaking of Kevin O'Connell, Kevin O'Connell, your 2024 NFL Coach of the Year, rightfully so. And the question is, can he repeat? And we've talked about how it's once you get a full steam ahead, as Reggie Miller would say, having success and having expectations of success, it's really hard to win Coach of the Year. Because we said the basic premise is who does the mostest with the leastest, or the perception of the leastest, right? Now the Vikings are going to have expectations. 14-win season with Sam Darnold as quarterback, and Kevin O'Connell should have won Coach of the Year in 2022. Ain't mad at it, but he got it. But odds-wise, he's long. Very, very long odds of him repeating. So, what was it? He's 17th. He's plus 2,500 to repeat as Coach of the Year, which that dog ain't going to hunt. All right, and Ben Johnson, Mike Vrabel, Liam Cohen are up there at the top because the first time Kellen Moore up there too. First time head coaches with lowered expectations. Harbaugh's up there kind of short. It wouldn't be appealing, but see who would I put a jelly bean on? Maybe Mike McDonald. I could see Seattle getting really good next year. Aaron Glenn at 16-1. Again, you can't just pick the best coach because that's not what the award is about. It's who does the mostest with the leastest. I feel like Carolina might get off the mat. So Canlis at 16-1, Aaron Glenn 16-1 could be appealing. But Kevin O'Connell, 17th longest odds at 25-1. He's not getting it. He's not getting it because there's never been a back-to-back Associated Press Coach of the Year. I don't see it repeating anytime soon. The closest is Bruce Arians, who won in 2012 with the Colts and then 2014 with the Cardinals. Then also our guy Stefanski won twice in 4 years. But hell, what's the odds on Stefanski? He's off the board. But yeah, I just don't see Kevin O'Connell winning. But that's okay. That's perfectly fine. Because if you have raised expectations and you meet those expectations, that's where you're supposed to be. Yeah. Also, it's kind of great. Reported widely, mainly by Ben Gessling, Star Tribune, Stephanie Ham, CJ Ham's awesome wife, basically broke news about him having a minor procedure or a simple procedure on his foot / ankle that had bothered him towards the end of last season. Epitome of if he wanted to, he would. No way this man started my car in this condition. So he had an app on his phone, start her car. Chivalry is not dead. And also, it's right before Valentine's Day. It's awesome. But, CJ wearing that boot on his right foot, TBD what it was, maybe just a cleanup, maybe something with ligaments. But either way, CJ Ham, good to go. I want him back for another season. I know that they could reduce his base salary of $2.55 million. They'll probably do that. But, yeah, have CJ Ham back because you're potentially going to lose a lot of veteran leadership. Harrison Smith if he retires, Stephon Gilmore if he retires, Aaron Jones if he's back. But yeah, bring CJ Ham back. Yeah, I definitely need Ham for 2025 and beyond. Also, someone who probably won't be back is Slinging Sammy Darnold, a.k.a. America's quarterback. Burt Breer, in his mailbag, talked about it. Casual, my guess right now is the Minnesota Vikings don't franchise tag Sam Darnold and said let the quarterback go to the market, asking that he give them a shot to match any offer he gets. To that end, Minnesota actually could transition tag Darnold, which would come with a less expensive tender. So franchise tag would be about $41 million. Transition would be about 36, because franchise tag is average of the top 5, transition is average of the top 10, and the chance to match, though, without compensation coming back if the team declines the match. Now, it's so stupid, the whole right of first refusal and then getting rewarded, basically like a restricted free agent tender. Like, it never goes down that way. Like, if it's a tag and trade situation, it's for far less than 2 1s. But I think that they're going to approach things with Sam Darnold exactly like they did with Kirk Cousins last year, where it's like basically the same premise. You go out and see what you can get, allow us to match it, and if it doesn't meet, best of luck. Because I think what the Vikings did with Cousins last year is basically they put an offer on the table. Here's what we can offer you. We're not going to go a penny more. If you can get more, best of luck. I think they'll do the exact same thing with Sam Darnold. It'll be like $27 million a year for 2 years, half of it guaranteed. If you can do better, you can do better, and we wish you the best. I know the Vikings really like J.J. McCarthy, and as long as he's able to regain his weight and strength in the coming weeks, I think they'd be comfortable going with him as a starter. And that's what's really good, too, is that McCarthy, he's out there on the field, he's moving around. They'll get a better assessment before they have to make a decision with Darnold, with the franchise tag window opening up on the 18th, closing on March 4th, and then free agency opening up on the 12th. So I think that's really good. It's one of the silver linings that McCarthy's injury and surgery happened before the start of the season, so he had the full length of time to be able to heal up, so the Vikings can see him on the practice field, see him in the weight room, and make sure that knee is good to go before they have to decide. Next, speaking of Jonathan Grenard, so Grenard, who is building a house here in the great state of Minnesota, he put out on the gram yesterday, laying in bed, -2, no words. No words. Now, Grenard played in Houston. He went to college at University of Florida. Go Gators. This is his first February in the great state of Minnesota, because when he signed free agency, it was March. March is kind of nice, and I always like March. I feel like we always talk about Minnesota summers, which are fantastic. The falls are really great too, but Minnesota March is good, and yeah, you may get some intermittent snow or some rain, but generally it's going to be a little bit sunny. It's going to be a little bit warm. St. Patty's Day is around. The NCAA tournament is there, and hope springs eternal. And March in Minnesota is great. Yeah, but that's the last time that Grenard was here. He had never been to Minnesota for a February, and I was just getting a crash course. That's what happens, man. Something also happens is Brian the Real Deal O'Neill. Don't have to worry about Darrisaw. Don't have to worry about O'Neill. The tackles are good to go. Just fix the interior offensive line. Yeah. Pro Football Hall of Fame ambassador tweeted this out. Brian O'Neill, a Vikings offensive tackle, allowed 0 goose egg D'Angelo Russell quarterback hits during the 2024 season on 1,100 snaps played per PFF. Skol. So Brian O'Neill, he gets overshadowed by other right tackles in the game, Lane Johnson, Penei Sewell, etc. But Brian O'Neill is legit, and I feel like he is the most underrated right tackle in the National Football League. He's a great leader out there on the field as well, and he's just a true pro's pro. And frankly, he did all of that with Ed Ingram next to him for half the year. So a lot of things going on there. But yeah, Brian O'Neill is legit, and also I think that they could and should reduce his $26 million cap hit this year by extending him and backfill some of that guaranteed money and lower his cap hit and give the Vikings even more cap space to be able to operate in free agency this offseason. Also, speaking of this offseason, Omar's coming. Omar Norman Lott has become one of my draft crushes as of late. Had a great Senior Bowl. Plus, I think he's going to test insane. Just full-on, quick-ass first step. And yeah, everyone now, after seeing the Super Bowl, is going to try and find their next Jalen Carter, but hopefully takes Ubers. But the whole thing about Omar Norman Lott is I think that in a very deep and very good defensive tackle class, I think that he might be one of the most underrated ones. Right? And NFL Draft Files put this up. Highest pass rush win rate among 2025 NFL draft interior defensive linemen, 18.9%, Omar Norman Lott from Tennessee. Now, stats wise, he only had four sacks last year, 5.5 the year before. So, black and white numbers wise, it ain't great. But pressures, it's all about at bats. How many times do you swing the bat? And Omar getting pressure on 1 in 5 pass rushing reps, I mean, that's really damn good. Also on there, our guy Aeneas Peebles, who's just a ball of energy, man. And he really does remind me of Dwayne Carter from Duke, because he also went to Duke. Was Dwayne Carter's teammate back in the day. Derek Hammond from Oregon. Our love for him has already been professed. I'm surprised that Walter Nolan isn't on this list, but Riley Mills from Notre Dame, Darrell Jackson Jr. from Florida State. This is a really damn good draft class for defensive tackles. I think Daniel Jeremiah put 24 startable grades on players, and the whole thing is like, well, first round grade, second round grade. What does that mean? I like the whole starter grade motif, where it's just like, will this guy start or at least be a high-end level contributor where he goes? Yeah. So 24 starters in there. Omar's coming. You just wait. After the combine, you'll see Omar matriculating up the draft boards into the first round. I'm mad at it. Something I'm also not mad at. So I don't like that Lake Superior is just so haughty and smug. I'm superior. Look at me. But since we're renaming bodies of water, we're naming Lake Superior to Lake Packers and Lions are ass. Thank you. That's it. That's the whole thing. Just in time for the draft. Just so Green Bay. Oh, no, that's Lake Michigan. Change Lake Michigan to Lake Packers suck as well. So why not? Why not? Yeah, but it's funny. Like, how come Wisconsin doesn't take the Upper Peninsula? That just shows you how big of cowards they are. Because actually, hell, how come Minnesota doesn't take over the Upper Peninsula? Just make it Minnesota 2, Electric Boogaloo. Go from there. But that's it. That's it. Vikings news dump on this wonderful, glorious Thursday. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skol. Production value.